And to say that I was confident and solid the whole time is garbage. Like, I was not. I was broken. I was at one of the lowest points in my life. Hey, welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. Today's video is going to be on surviving hard times in America. I'm laughing, it's funny, but it's not funny. Because in America, we can find ourselves in some horrible situations that are just wrecking our external lives. And for example, men will get put into the divorce system and their lives will be trashed. And I've experienced this. You lose your wife, you lose your kids, you lose the house, half of everything in there, and then you find yourself having to scramble like, oh my goodness, like, where do I live? What do I do? I got to have a place for my kids, And it goes into panic mode of like, if I don't have a place for my kids, they're going to adjust custody. And then the man's like working, losing tons of money to somebody that has like an entire support system. Okay. But then also people can lose their jobs. People will have their families ostracize them and cast them out. For instance, the black sheep or the scapegoat of the family, people who are raised in horrible homes and they were tormented their entire life, and then they get into life and their families still pick at them and still mess with them just for the game of it. It's just evil. And then there's many other situations where somebody could get in a wreck or get hurt and just tough times. So for me, here is what I came up with and what I followed during some horribly tough times that I endured. And these were times where I had lost everything in the family courts. It was just devastating. My family, who abused me growing up, and I was the scapegoat, they turned against me, of course, because I realized somebody that abuses a child, they're going to lie and deceive and try to hurt that adult. All of a sudden, there's not a switch of morality where they're like, oh, we were wrong for abusing them. Let's help them now. So my birth family had turned against me. I had very few friends at this point in time, and things were just horribly difficult. I was homeless for a few weeks, scrambling to buy a house, which I was buying with my military retirement, which a portion was going into child support. So my income was even lower. So that really limited me to where I could purchase or what I could purchase. So just look at that. And maybe you're in horrible times and you're going through just the meat grinder. And every day you're just like, how can I keep going? How can I keep going? This is what I started doing. I realized that I had to stay solid for my children and that time was going to pass either way. So 10 years down the road, I could be this bitter, angry person that has built nothing. Or 10 years down the road, I could be somebody that has done very well and succeeded as in not being broken by these systems that we get put into, which are just cruel. And they're like the family legal system has nothing to do with right or wrong. It's whoever can pay the most money and strike first. That's what I've discovered, and I've seen many stories like that. So you get catapulted into chaos. You're like, what do I do? Well, you have to create a vision of your mind of where you want to be. And it may be a grand vision, but when you see that, it can be overwhelming. And the day-to-day is just designed to torment you. So each day you get up, like when you're in the jungle lost, that's a metaphor, like you're in the jungle, you've been dropped in, you don't have any tools or equipment, you've lost everything, you don't have a grid, you don't have an azimuth, you don't have anything, and you're just freaking out. What you can do is take care of yourself and set up systems to set you up for success for the next day. Even if you're shooting for success of the next day, that is building a brick into the future of where you want to be. and literally you're using your fingernails and your teeth and you're low crawling and you're just fighting your way out. And sometimes that's what it has to be. Like, you have to get into fight mode, like do or die, because those kids are depending on you, or whoever else is in your life that hasn't bailed on you yet. So daily planning became so crucial to me, because each day was, for a long period of time, was just misery. You miss your kids. You know that your family is just nitpicking and trying to turn people against you, and you've been lied about, and all these terrible things have been said. And so your support group has gone down to nothing. And the abuser support group is expanding because, like, let's say in a church, they're quick to believe a victim story. They're like, oh yeah, And so it's like the community will turn against somebody based on lies without even getting to know this person. So you can be in that situation, or whatever situation it may be. Your daily planning is crucial. And for me, that was every night getting in my binder or whatever notepad and writing down the morning tasks. Every detail of it. Then writing out the big tasks of the day. And then writing out a bedtime plan. Lay out my clothes for the next day. Hydrate. Brush my teeth. Make a plan. This took effort every night. So during the day, instead of just being lost and woe is me, you'd be like, yeah, this sucks, but I'm going to look and I'm going to follow this plan. And day after day after day, it gives you structure instead of just being aimless, because it's easy to bed rot. I had been medically retired. When the wife left with the kids, I went about 2.5 months of bed rotting. I could barely wash the dishes. I stopped working out. I got rid of the chickens, got rid of the goats, got rid of so much of my life because I could barely take care of myself. I was just laying in bed, just absolutely crushed day after day. But I had to dig my way out of that. And I'm here to encourage you that daily planning will take you from one day to the next day when you're lost in the jungle and you can't see for the woods, basically. You don't know what the other end's going to look like. You're lost in the dark. Your daily planning. And another thing that became very crucial for me is something that I used to think was super dumb, and that's journaling. Have a little journal, and every night I write in it. And I have a couple of these filled out. And I remember when I started, this wasn't the starting one, but the one that started, I felt really silly writing in it. But what I did was I changed my mindset. I reframed the whole story, and I viewed this as my adventure journal. And so I started writing in it as if I'm on an adventure, because basically that's what it is. It's this crazy situation. If I look at myself as a victim in it, I'll be like, woe is me. But if I look at myself as the primary character and that this is an adventure, then it becomes much easier to step on to the next platform that will get me to the next place. Because you watch a movie and you see a hero and it's like, oh, it's like they just seem to be making the right decisions and they're confident and they're solid. And to say that I was confident and solid the whole time is garbage. I was not. I was broken. I was at one of the lowest points in my life. Not the lowest I'd ever been. My parents had put me in the lowest points of my life. But this kind of mimicked that, severely. So I had to get to the point of journaling, writing out all of my thoughts, how I felt. Because the paper doesn't talk back to you. And you can get out exactly how you feel. And I would do journaling in a separate notebook. But in my adventure journal, I would write out as I'm the primary character and this is the next step. This is what I'm working on. This is what I'm thankful for. And I would do that and so forth. And that started building routines, and it started building consistency, and it started building those little bitty victories. And so here's another thing when you get into these hard times. You have to stop chasing what everybody else is chasing. All these other people are chasing bigger trucks. They're chasing bigger houses, the Facebook pictures, going on vacations, dressing up, having like all of, yes, I'm wearing this, but it's just a freaking awesome shirt. Dressing up is in like wearing the name brands, having the Costa glasses. Like I knew a dude that would have like 6 sets of Costa glasses, and they're like crazy expensive. It's like, what? Like I can make a $25 pair of sunglasses last years, and I have. Every time I take them off, I put them in a safe place. So going into a hard, difficult time, you have to be very, very disciplined and stop chasing what other people are chasing, because what they're chasing is throwing away money. They're not building their core. They're chasing what other people see and what they think is success. You have to just do away with that. And then you have to lock down your discipline, because your resources are going to be extremely limited, very limited. Let's say you're a dad who just went through divorce and you're paying out buttloads of money and it's killing you. Your resources are limited. This means it's time to lock down your discipline, take great care of all your resources, and be very focused on what you do, because you can't afford getting hurt. You can't afford getting in a wreck. You can't afford getting sick. You can't afford your house burning down. You can't afford a broken window. So this means like doing a risk assessment constantly on everything you do, driving with the utmost care, paying attention to detail of the things that need to be worked on. Right now, I'll say this, there's some pipes I need to get under the house and work on. I haven't yet, but I need to do that for sure. But you have to get focused and disciplined and focus on your resources. Stop chasing what other people are chasing, and then start digging deep and finding out what is your purpose in life. What is your goal? Because you are here for a reason. You weren't put here just to be an automaton. You were put here because everything you've been through will help other people, or build something that people can lean on, or you have this idea that you're supposed to give to the world and only you are allotted with that mission and that task. And the best way I found to dig deep into this is transmuting my pain and asking that question. So here's how I would transmute my pain. So being a soldier, being in combat, like there's a side of me that was trained to be violent. That's the truth. I was trained to be violent. And I was trained very well in some aspects, like very advanced, which is super cool. So I had to harness my anger and aggression during these times, during this trauma that was being done to me. It's like, I can't go attack these people and get my kids back, or I'll go to jail, even though they were wrong. I can't go do all this stuff I could have done at war, when that was the answer then. But now it is almost like asymmetrical warfare, where it's like we're in the planning phase and we have to look long term, and we have to see way down the road, and then we have to plan daily, meticulously, how we're going to get there while we're under attack. Sometimes you have to play weak. Even when you're strong, you have to act weak. And that means they might ease up on their attack, or they may attack harder. But what this does is you see what they got. You see what cards they have to play when they think, oh, it's time to attack. You know, Sun Tzu, like, I'm not the strongest, but I'm going to act weak. And then they launch their attacks. And that's probably usually maybe their best attacks. You're like, okay, cool. Let me make it through this. Okay, so transmuting pain. These times are painful. What I did is I took my anger, aggression, and turned it into something healthy, into physical fitness. I got a sledgehammer and I got a tire. And I would just go out and go to town on that tire. I would hammer on that tire until I'd pass out. I would flip that tire in the heat of the summertime until I would just collapse on the ground, until I got all the fight out of me. Because I could not risk going and kicking a door in. When I was younger, when I was little bitty, my mother had assaulted me in a horrible way. And that memory came back when I was in my mid-30s. I got mad about it, went to her trailer, kicked it in, and I saw all these memories of my childhood, and then I just trashed the place. Was that a good decision? No. Is that what they wanted me to do? Yes. because they were able to point a finger at me and say, look, he's unstable. We got to be scared of him. And they got away with their assaults on me when I was a child. But I played into their hands. But thankfully, I am a learner. And I learned this time, like, I will not break anything. I will not lash out. So I transmuted the pain. I would take that sledgehammer, and with all of my anger, I would try to break that tire. I can't break the tire. Like, it's not going to happen. But my muscles were getting stronger, and I was getting rid of all of that anger and energy. And granted, it was day after day after day, because I had like infinite supply of anger and hatred and frustration. But I transmuted it. I released my anger, and it turned into healthy physical fitness. So you transmute it. You take, hey, what y'all meant to hurt me and harm me, I'm going to apply it for my benefit, and I'm going to grow stronger. And while I am out here training, growing stronger physically, mentally, and learning to harness my anger and my rage, y'all are stuffing your faces. Y'all are watching TV. Y'all are going out to eat, drinking Cokes and eating all this, and y'all are getting fatter and lazier, and I'm getting stronger. So while y'all think y'all are just dominating me, you're not. I'm here going to town, training, controlling myself, and being steadfast. That being said, if you are going through something and you are just angered at the injustice, I want to encourage you to get a gym membership if you can afford it. Go row. Get on the exercise bike or the elliptical. Those are the easiest, hardest things you can do. First, watch a YouTube video on how to properly exercise so you won't hurt yourself, or how to properly use that machine. Or get a sledgehammer and get a tire and just beat the crap out of it. Or get a tire and flip that thing. Watch a YouTube video to learn about proper form and function, how do you load your joints right so you don't overexert anything or stretch or hurt or pain anything in a way you shouldn't. But then once you have the mechanics down, you just exert all that pain and frustration. You transmute that pain. Okay, so I'm going to sum up and stop. Like, this video is meant to encourage you if you are in a horrible, terrible time. Journal. Write down your feelings and your emotions. Pretend you're the adventurer and pretend you're on an adventure. Get a notepad and write down a plan for every day. Your morning routine, the main task for the day, and then your nighttime routine. Add in folding your clothes, doing your laundry, drinking plenty of water, checking the mail, taking out trash, making your bed. Add those things in because it's easy to overlook that stuff. And self-care, that's important. That's part of that, that morning routine of brushing your teeth, getting dressed, looking in the mirror, validating yourself. Those things are valuable. And then with the journal, writing out all of your feelings and emotions, writing out your hopes and dreams, because it is okay to dream. It's a good thing. But write down all of your fears, write down everything that's been done to you and get it out. Because that paper is not going to judge you. And one day you'll be able to look back and read it. And you'll be able to use your story to help fuel somebody else's journey when they're in the dark times. And then also transmute your pain. Mute your pain. Don't attack back. That's what is wanted when you are attacked. Don't attack back. Find a way to take all of your anger and put it into a discipline. That way, what you can do is I am so mad that I'm going to focus on every single detail and use my anger to be detailed. But I will add this at the end, anger will only get you so far. Heard a dude say adrenaline will only get you so far. Then you have to get to the point of when you're burnt out, you're like, where's my fuel? Your fuel comes from forgiveness. Because when you get bitter and angry, that covers up your joy and creativity. When you get to the point of forgiveness, it frees up your joy and creativity. So I'm going to end this video. I hope this was encouragement. I have made it through tough times. I know that I am still on a journey through some tough times, but I've made it this far. And these are things that have helped me tremendously. And I hope you like this video. If you don't, you don't. If you do, you do. I'm going to end the video. Roadhouse, Spiritual Hard.